Welcome back to another team analysis with my season 3 team. So I'm coming at you looking at my season 3 team. I actually don't have everything up, so I'm going to pull that up for me for a second. There we go. Nothing changed on your screen, but it was on mine. Alright, so here we have our team. It's on the right side of your screen. I'm also going to scroll through it really quickly so you can kind of see what's going on. So, the history behind this team, I wasn't actually in this. I was taking a break from Draft League this season, and then somebody couldn't handle their team, so they needed somebody else to step in that could do some battles. So I stepped in, took a hold of this team, didn't know what to do with it. So it's kind of a pre-made team, and I just tried to make it kind of the best I could. It was kind of a real scrap together team, and it's arguably not good. But here's what it is. So we have Gliscor here. Gliscor was on the team originally. Yeah, Gliscor was on the team originally. This one we have Poison Heal. I ran a Hyper Cutter sometimes for Intimidate. It was, excuse me. Sometimes it was a Toxic Stall Pokemon. It was pretty decent at that. I had some Sword Stance on it sometimes. A lot of time, almost all the time I'd Protect. Sometimes I'd Roost. It was very versatile. I never ran it with Tailwind, but I always knew that I could. I always knew that I could run Toxic Spikes as well. Gliscor is interesting because it can play into any matchups really, really well. It's kind of such a diverse Pokemon that it can just really, really punch holes in people's teams if they're not prepared for it. So, yeah, I loved it a lot. It was probably my most solid Pokemon here. Next we have Excadrill. This team does have a Gigalith on it for Sandstream. So this can be Sand Force or Sand Rush Excadrill. I ran it both ways. There was a battle where I just ran like Rock Slide, and I wanted Excadrill to die, but he just kept getting flinches. So he was the GOAT, actually. This I almost always ran Life Orb or Focus Sash. I usually ran 3 moves plus Protect. I don't know what 3 moves to put on here. Yeah, it wasn't really like a Sword Stance or anything. It was just kind of a, yeah, we should set up and sweep, because this thing, 135 attack stat is nothing. Just needs that 88 speed if we're in Tailwind, or if we're in Sand with Sand Rush is pretty good. So, decently solid. We got Goodra here. Goodra I ran a bunch of different ways. I really didn't know what to run on this thing. But I knew that there was a strategy where you could make this thing unkillable with Shell Armor. If you boosted up its physical defense and its special defense, you could make it essentially unkillable. Usually I'd run Leftovers here. Make it unkillable. Sometimes I ran it kind of offensive. By kind of offensive, what I mean, of course, is like a Body Press Acid Armor set, which is defensive and offensive. Sometimes I ran Draco Meteor White Herb. That happened. I actually almost won the entire thing with that set. This thing was kind of more disruption Pokemon. Toxic, very good here. Yeah, Life Dew, again, very good. So, something that just can take an absurd amount of damage. It was never like the greatest offensive, but yeah, pretty solid defensively. Now here comes my supports. My supports are very good. Of course, I'm talking about Murkrow. Murkrow ran a lot of sets. Sometimes I ran Toxic. Most of the time I ran Tailwind, Roost. Defog is very good. Feather Dance is very good. There was a lot of really good stuff here. Sometimes I ran Protect. Thunder Wave is always an option. I ran Captivate at one point because I was facing a Latias, and they're always female, so I ran Captivate for that. There's a lot of interesting things I can do here. Yeah. Snatch I always thought about. Yeah. There's a lot of fun things that Murkrow could do. Basically it was just another stall mon, you know. Not too crazy. Okay. Mega Bayonet. Mega Bayonet's Will-O-Wisp. Prankster Will-O-Wisp is so good. Prankster Cotton Guard. Again, pretty good. I love to use Prankster Cotton Guard. That was it did very well. I also ran some Encore, I ran some Protect, I also ran some Pain Split. Pain Split, maybe? P-A-I-N? I also ran Pain Split just because I get low with Cotton Guard, Pain Split up to full HP. Because this thing does not have a super high HP stat, but yeah, very interesting. This thing ran Shadow Sneak quite a bit. Sometimes, there was one time where I ran Poltergeist, but it didn't work very well because I was facing a Groudon. So, yeah, kind of decent. Ally Switch, very helpful here, especially on a team with no redirection, as this one does not have. Screech, I was gonna run Screech in the finale, but didn't get a chance to. But this is the team that I placed third with. Mega Gardevoir looks good on this team. It didn't feel good on this team. I never really used it, which is interesting. It never, I don't know, it just didn't feel, I don't think I had the right things to play against, right? So there's a lot of poison types, a lot of steel types out there. This thing really just didn't do what it needed to do against them. With the base 100 speed stat, I felt like I had to put it in with another offensive pressure, but if I did that, I couldn't have Tailwind. It was just a little bit awkward. I couldn't really figure out what I was supposed to do with it. Yeah, it does have a lot. Absolutely has a lot of. It gets Shadow Sneak. Absolutely has a lot of potential. I just couldn't. I felt like I couldn't put it together. I couldn't piece it together. Not that it's bad, not that I could never use it, but it's just, I always felt like it didn't work into the teams that I was facing. So, yeah, gets a vacuum wave. Alright, one of the best Pokemon on the team. This is a Hitmontop. Hitmontop, Intimidate, Fake Out. Absolutely goated. Had Eject Pack, Close Combat, so I could get out, get back in again. That worked tremendously. It was always goated. I loved this set. Mach Punch on here, Ice Spinner on here, some terrain stuff. This is, other than Ice Spinner usually replaced by Knockoff, but yeah, this set is so good. It comes from a set that Wolf Glick used to win the World Championships. So obviously, it's gonna be good. But it was a lot of fun. I actually loved using this thing. It worked really well on this team, especially with the Fake Out and the Intimidate synergy. Yeah, I loved it. This is probably my favorite Pokemon on the team. Luxray. Usually not a great Pokemon in Draft League. However, I got to use it fairly well. Intimidate, I did a lot of Assault Vest, Intimidate strats. So I'd run Intimidate, Assault Vest, and then Volt Switch. I ran that quite a bit. I ran a Guts set once that didn't even get to get used. It was a Trick Room. So it's Trick Room with Mega Bayonet, and then Guts Flame Orb. Luxray. So it's meant for Trick Room. And then I Trick Roomed, and then they Trick Roomed, and I was like, uh-oh. So I just switched both Pokemon out, and then we ran a non-Trick Room strategy, and I think I either 4-0'd them or 5-0'd them after that, and Luxray just didn't get to come out, and I never got to use the Guts Ray set, but yeah, I loved it a lot. Ninjask. Ninjask never got used. But what it was meant for was it was meant for Sandstream because I didn't have Gigalith yet. So Ninjask was for Sandstream, but it ended up being fine. I mean, I used Protect, I used Baton Pass, Speed Boost. I didn't use it. I built these sets randomly. I also used Final Gambit. I built for Final Gambit. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot that this thing can do, even at full potential. It doesn't even get Tailwind, which kind of really blows. Yeah, it's kind of, meh. It didn't work on this team as well. Gigalith. Gigalith did work on this team. Gigalith was interesting. I either ran Assault Vest, I ran some other stuff. I know I ran rocks, stealth rocks at some point. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Ran some Iron Head, Rock Slide. Rock Slide was one of my best ones. I had a set where it was max speed Gigalith behind Tailwind, and it was supposed to flinch, and I got no flinches, and I lost the game because I didn't get a single flinch. I landed on my Rock Slides, didn't get a single flinch. So that was kind of brutal, but that's the reason I lost. That was the reason I was out of the tournament. But it was a decent idea. It was a good set. It was fun to use. But yeah, again, kind of interesting, kind of weird. Just some fun stuff. I enjoyed it. I also had Glaceon here. Glaceon's an interesting pick. I didn't have Glaceon originally. The other guy picked Glaceon for me. I ran Z Celebrate on this thing. The only time it ever came out, it was Z Celebrate. And it was Freeze Dry and Water Pulse. And Freeze Dry hits almost everything, and everything that Freeze Dry doesn't hit, Water Pulse hits. With the Sky High special attack stat, it was absolutely absurd. So, I don't know, kind of fun. I loved Z Celebrate Glaceon. It was a lot. It was pretty good. Very fun to use. Lastly, I have Knockdown. I never use this thing. I love Knockdown. I never used this one because I had such a better Tailwinder and Flying type all around with Murkrow. I just didn't have a reason to use it. But this team was a lot of fun. It was not a good team. It was probably the worst team I've ever had just because it was a mashup of two different people's ideas and not a very well executed. This is probably the most support-heavy team I've ever had. It really doesn't have a lot of offense other than, like, Excadrill. I mean, even then, Gliscor's attack stat isn't even 100. Gardevoir, I wish I could have used it more. Luxray could have been good. Again, didn't get to use it. There's not a lot of offense. And the support isn't like redirection support. And I feel like that's what this team needed was like Swords Dance Gliscor or Swords Dance Excadrill or, you know, Calm Mind Mega Gardevoir with like Follow Me or Rage Petter. Like those would have been very, very good things to have, and I just didn't have them. But yeah, that's my team. It was definitely interesting. I got third place with it, which I'm kind of proud of, because it is probably the worst team I've had. I mean, even my first team ever with doubles probably wasn't this rough. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Do everything the YouTubers tell you to do. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.